Welcome back, students. In this video, we are going to shortly talk about the for loops. The for loops are incredibly and importantly useful when certain tasks needed to be repeated very often in the piece of script. A for loop is based on iterable variable of defined length. For example, we define any variable, for example, I, with a start integer value of example 1. We then increment this integer value until a second integer value, for example 8, is reached, which is written in this piece of code. And we also would like to print out the results. So let me print this for loop and let's see the result. So here is our for loop executed, and we print in each of these of 8 elements that we have defined here with an increment of 1. The practical thing, the code in curly brackets here is automatically executed once each time, 8 times in total, as we have defined here. And we can meanwhile pick up the expression of our variable I in order to print it or index a vector with it, and we can do also much more than this. So let's have a look on this second example. Here we have a vector that we have defined with several values, and we can also see what is the length of this vector. So we have 6 elements in this vector. So now we can create for loops with not a number here that as we did in a previous example, but we actually use the length of vector to indicate how much iterations in our for loop should be executed. Yeah, so basically we could have just written here for I in 1 semi-dot length semicolon dot length not length but 6. But in case you don't know the length of the vector, you don't want to write a number because the length of your vector may change depending on the data you use, and you want to write a more generic piece of code, then the expression length of vector would be more appropriate. It is also possible to set the variable or iterator equal to the elements of the vector instead of integer value for indexing. That's what I have just shown to you here in this piece of code. The information in which run the loop is, however, is initially lost. Yeah. So, and this is in another example where we define a vector and write it this way. So for each I in our vector v, print I. Of course, and the output will be basically each element of our vector printed. So the same as in a previous example. Of course, the examples that I have just shown you with the for loops are very basic, and it just to demonstrate you a basic idea behind of the for loops. But on using such simple examples, it's also become more clear how the more complex structures in the R programming will work.